Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is your pal Orange Hat. We're back for the weekly recap. Kate can't be here, or actually, Kate got a sex change. She's now a much older guy. I'm just joking. How you doing, Ambassador? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, Orange. Glad to be here. So, and how dare you assume my gender?
Yeah, all right. But yeah, Kate is on a plane right now, folks. She was having a family vacation this weekend.
Kate.
So she is oh wait, is she in the chat? Nope, that's Darth Zathra. Good to see you, Darth Zathra. Also, but yeah. Before we get into this weekly recap, folks, we got a lot to address, some serious stuff as well as entertainment stuff. But before we get started, Ambassador, let everybody know where they can find you. Give yourself a plug, man.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is The Ambassador. That's my YouTube moniker anyway. My channel is The Ambassadorial Wing. We discuss films of the modern, retro, and ultra retro eras. We do streaming, we do uploads, we're currently in the middle of a series review on the films of Quentin Tarantino. We're also going to be coming up in August. We're going to be doing a review. We also do watch-alongs. We're going to be doing a watch-along for the original Beetlejuice in preparation for the sequel coming out in September, Beetlejuice. So that's my channel. You can find me on social media at Ambassador Kosh on X, and you can find me on Instagram at The Ambassador Kosh on Instagram. So hit that subscribe button. Go over, check out some of my content. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe, hit the notifications, do all the usual things, and make sure you tune in. So,
and as for me, folks, y'all know where you can find me. You can find me on X at Orange Hat 2185 or Orange Hat Revived without the A in orange. And I'm about to sneeze, so hold on 1 second.
Duck and cover.
And it passed. It didn't sneeze. But anyway, tonight is the weekly recap. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. for now on is the Monday Night Rants, where we're going to take one of these topics tonight and rant about it over there too. If anybody else wants to come on and rant about it. You could come on, take any sort of rant you want to talk about, rant about, just save the drama for your mama, save the personal drama for your house, and don't be bringing that shit on here. If you have any Twitter beefs with other people, keep that shit off my channel. Tuesday is the last of the Mohicans. No, I'm just kidding. It's the last of the theme streams, which is paranormal horror and my thoughts on paranormal horror. And I will also be giving a new theme for August for the Tuesday themes. As well as, let's see here, Tuesday night is Barroom Podcast with Society Reviews. Shout out to them, to Jacob and them. We'll be joining them tomorrow night or Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays, twice a month. Wednesdays, I'm on Jade Shadow's channel for ones and twos. We're going to be talking Kill Bill, because the theme that we're going for that month or next month is female-led movies that aren't woke. So, yeah.
The funny thing is, I'm actually next in August, we're going to be doing review of Kill Bill Volume 1 for my channel. So,
nice.
Dovetailing interests.
And as for singles, it's going to be G.I. Jane and The Quick and the Dead. So make sure you all tune in for that. They're going to be in the later half of the month. For the ones and twos and singles. And Friday nights are Orange Hat Uncensored, where me, Jane, and Ruben Christopher Haynes join and talk about politics. So yeah. And Saturday is my day of rest. But we got some stuff to talk about, folks. First off, we are going to be starting with the Olympics, because I also have that up right now. The Olympics have officially apologized. And they did a full disgusting mockery of the Last Supper, where I'm not going to show you what they did. I mean, you might see a little bit of it. But the thing is, everybody's saying it wasn't a mockery of the Last Supper. And it was to talk about the Feast of Dionysus. Then why did Jabba the Hutt, who was in the seat of Jesus in the Last Supper, saying it was the new gay testament? But let's get into it. Yeah. Add to the stage. This is the thing. Now, before I do go, Ambassador, let me know if my audio skips, drops, or anything like that while I'm over in the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, folks, this is the thing. They did this disgusting rendition of the mockery of the Last Supper. And it pissed off the a lot of religious leaders throughout the world, including France. And the right-wing party of France, the woman who was running for the leadership of France, she actually tweeted in English that's how serious she was. She doesn't tweet in English, apparently. But yeah, she's like, this isn't what we do here. This is not what we do. Not only that, they were also showing the Lady Liberty looking rather beat up and decrepit in their animated opening. I'm not going to show that, but it's basically clearly shows what France thinks of America. And so, yes, this is just in from earlier today. Paris Olympic organizers issue apology after they mocked Christianity during their opening ceremony. Organizers say that they are really sorry if they offended anyone, saying there was never any intention to offend Christians. Bullshit. There was never any intention to show disrespect to any religious group. The opening ceremony tried to celebrate community tolerance. There are ways to do that without interjecting mockery to religion. The apology is hard to believe considering the self-described obese Jewish queer lesbian who played Jesus labeled the performance the new gay testament on Instagram. So Barbara Butch is the freaking Jabba the Hutt, as I call her. I'm sorry, I'm not apologizing for that. But yeah, this thing was. I'll play this. You're not going to hear anything, folks. Well, I'm actually going to turn off the. I'm going to turn off.
I've seen this video.
Yeah, but I want the viewers to actually see what was done, as abhorrent as it is. This is essentially yuck. I didn't want volume. But yes, they are. That is like the Last Supper. That is directly influenced by the Last Supper with what they're doing. And not only that, let's see here. There's a kid at the fucking table.
Yep.
And oh yes, new gay testament, baby. Let's zoom in. All can see that. So, Ambassador, what are your thoughts as a religious fellow on this?
Well, I'm not just a religious fellow. I was raised a Protestant. I'm now part of the Catholic Church. Speaking from this in perspective as a Protestant, it is beyond disgusting. It is a complete and utter desecration of what many Protestants and Catholics hold as a very significant religious event. It was the introduction of communion to the Protestant Church. It was the introduction of the Holy Eucharist to the Catholic Church. It is a complete and utter mockery of a very significant piece of art by arguably one of the greatest artists in the world, one Leonardo da Vinci. It is offensive on every conceivable level, whether you are a person of faith or you are not, because there are certain lines that you should not cross. There are certain things you do not mock or disrespect. And even if you are not a person of religious belief, Catholic, Protestant, or otherwise, they have mocked a artist's work. They have done it poorly. They have done it cheaply. And they are trying to shove in our faces something that is abnormal, trying to normalize something that is obviously abnormal. I would imagine that there are probably some drag queens out there, probably some gay people, some members of the LGBT community that probably themselves are going, "Oh, darling, why in the world did you do this? It is just hideous." But to not to put a, I may catch some flack for this, but quite frankly, I don't, or I don't care, I should say. The individuals, and specifically the angel, Mr. Thomas Jolly, well, quite frankly, sir, there is a special place in hell for you. There's a special place in hell for anyone that worked on the production of this travesty, of this blasphemy, of this outright disgrace of an opening ceremony in its totality, but more specifically this. I'm not trying to cast judgment on anyone. And before anybody says, well, the ambassador's just another one of those right-wing conservative Christians and one of these right-wing conservative Catholics who just hates everybody. No, I don't hate everybody. What I hate is hypocrisy. I outright dare the IOC to go to the next person that does their opening ceremonies and do something that mocks Islam. I dare them to do it, and I guarantee you they will not have the backbone to do so, because you can blaspheme Christ, you can blaspheme Christianity, you can blaspheme the Holy Eucharist or Communion by whatever name you call it. But the minute anybody suggests that they mock Islam, everybody gets a tight sphincter. To the IOC, you are a pack. Sorry, just one more thing. To the IOC, you are a pack of hypocritical, spineless scum. And eventually, not by any man or woman, you will be judged. Anyway, go ahead. Jack, go ahead.
And so I responded, and I directly tagged the Olympics and the IOC media, the International Olympic Committee media Twitter page, and I said, "You're not forgiven." And what was done, or it was done with intent. You were outed by the woman who called it the New Gay Testament, Miss Jabba the Hutt here. And the only way that any sort of consideration of forgiveness, the only way that any sort of consideration of forgiveness can be had is if you stop with the BS and start holding people accountable. Accountability needs to make a comeback. Now, folks, let me get rid of this for a moment. We will return back to Twitter in a moment. But the point is, folks, there is a lot of hypocrisy, and Ambassador is absolutely right about it. When they like to throw all sorts of shade at Christians, at Catholics, and whatnot. Now, I may not be a perfectly practicing Catholic to the satisfaction of anybody who I am or who I know and whatnot. I may not have all of the requirements under my belt, so to speak, but it does anger me to a point of religious anger, because I do believe in God. I do believe in Christ. I do pray. My relationship with God is more personal, and I don't always flaunt it. And so, when I see something like this, I've seen how they've done it at baseball games, at baseball professional sports throughout the country, where they are saying, "Oh, we're going to have drag queen nuns and lesbian nuns and and this and that. And eventually baseball took a stand against it, but then they had to cave and allow it. But yeah, when you see that there's no making fun of Islam or the Jewish faith or any other religion, it's only Christianity and Catholicism that are openly mocked, that they allow to have or to allow open mockery of. And there is going to come a time when people are going to say no more. You continue doing that, and if you continue doing it in our face, there comes a time when everybody meets their breaking point. I hope that it won't I hope that the breaking point doesn't become a violent event. Endorse that. However, I will not be surprised if it does because of how heated society has become over the last few years. There comes, I believe Pete Postlethwaite said it best in the movie Clash of the Titans. One day, somebody's going to have to take a stand. One day, somebody's going to have to say enough. Well, one day, somebody, maybe even many people, will finally come and say enough. You keep on doing that. We will show you just how much we can do the very same to all of you. I mean, to give you, I could easily give you a litany, a freaking scroll that would reach down the road from of all sorts of different whatnot. I can say a lot of stuff about Muslims. I could say a lot of stuff about the non-religious community. I could say all sorts of shit, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be the better person for it. I will take the high road as often as I have. Believe me, I am tempted to take the low road once in a while, but I will not do that today. But yeah.
Well, and just to put a point out there, apparently where they're having the medal ceremonies, Mama Baxter pointed this out to me the other day. She actually showed me the image of it. They actually have a golden calf behind the statues, or behind the places where they have the medalists stand, and they actually have a giant golden bull's head. So they're actually, in a way, taking a shot at Judaism too, at the Jewish community, because, well, obviously one of the major events in Jewish theology is obviously the golden calf that was constructed at Mount Sinai when Moses gave the Ten Commandments. So they're not pulling any punches anymore. They're after everybody. Just not. And I say this not to be mocking or rude or disrespectful. They're just not going after the Muslims. They're not going after Islam.
Yeah,
because they know if they do, there's several militant arms of Islam that will come after them. But they know they come after the Jewish people, Jewish and Christians. We're not radicalized to the point where we commit violence, but beside the point. Go ahead, Orange. Sorry.
Well, to be completely honest, there was a time when the Catholic Church did wage crusades. I don't think they want us to do that now anymore because, well, we've already proven we could make a very bloody campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing nobody has heard of the bloody verdict of Verdun. But yes, moving on to the next thing on X so I can close down that tab. Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU, folks. Not as Iron Man, but as Doctor Doom. Now, I am not going to be jumping on the MCU is saved, or, oh my God, the MCU is doomed, or any of that shit. I am going to look at this objectively. So I am actually going to give some speculations, and I'm going to show you all this video. And we're gonna watch this video from the two Endgame director people, the brothers. I forget their names.
Russo brothers.
Yeah,
Russo
those
brothers. Joe and Anthony, I think. Joe for sure. Joe and Anthony Russo, I think, are their first names.
Yeah, the Russos. So we're gonna watch this little bit here. This was their announcement of Doom, but I want you all to pay attention to what Russo says. Okay. But before I do get this, let me address the chat because I do see that we have some people in the chat. And I do want to say hello, right? It's always a pleasure. And Conroy, I can digest Orange Hat's commentary a lot easier than the raw reporting. Yeah. Bits and pieces of the Olympics. Yeah, I don't know. That's happened. I've been catching bits and pieces of the Olympics. Yeah, I hear you.
Right, it's a whole thing, and the deeper you go, the more cheesed off you might get. Just saying.
Yeah.
Depending on your stance.
But let's get to this thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's get to this. Where is it? Yeah. All right. So without further ado.
I mean, this is potentially one of the more entertaining characters in all of fiction. If we're going to do this, if we're going to bring him to movie theaters worldwide, then I think we're going to need the greatest actor in the world to play that. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
Yep, they all know it's him. I mean, yes, it was. If you noticed that slip there, folks.
I heard it too.
If you noticed that slip, the Marvel Cinematic Multi-Universe, do you honestly not think that there isn't a universe in the comics in which Iron Man became Doom?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think he was referred to as the I can't remember the exact title that they gave him, but it was a version of Iron Man that did become Doom. And then there was a version of Doom that actually became Iron Man. Now, I've not read either one of those storylines per se, but Robert Downey Jr. is Doom. Does this save the multiverse saga? No. Did Deadpool and Wolverine save the multiverse saga? No, but was it a hell of a good movie? I can say this with all honesty and transparency. Yes, because I saw it last night. Me and a buddy of mine went to see it, and it was a damn good movie. But does it save the multiverse saga? No. Does this save the multiverse saga? No. But do I like Dr. Doom a heck of a lot more than I do Kang the Conqueror? Yes. A lot more people know more about Dr. Doom than they know about Kang the Conqueror. So, and I mean, do I think this is... Go ahead. Go ahead, Orange.
I've heard I've seen a comic in which the Thing was Doom. I've seen comics where multiple different people were Doom.
Yeah. I think even Reed Richards was at one point Dr. Doom, but he was really stretchy.
Yeah. I mean, the multiverse is vast, folks, so that's infinite possibilities, as the Russos say. But is he playing Victor Von Doom or Tony Stark with a mental break, a psychotic break in which he has multiple personalities and the winning personality became Victor Von Doom? Or, I mean, is that what we are going for, you know?
Well, we don't know yet because we don't have enough information, but I would say probably it actually is going to be Doom. Because shave his beard off, maybe give him a prosthetic of some sort and everything. Because if you know your backstory on Doom and everything, his face is scarred and so on.
Yeah.
So they can distinguish him and make him not. You might see Robert Downey Jr., but you're going to see Dr. Doom instead. So
yeah.
The next thing is, how are they going to design the armor? Because there's different iterations of Doom's armor as well. So that's going to be the other key point in this whole thing.
I mean, as long as they stick with the mask and green or chrome and green, yeah,
you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So,
because that is what most people know.
Yeah. He has a mask. He wears green. He's got a power suit. So, I mean, am I as over the moon about this as everybody else? It's 50-50. It's 50% yes, 50% no, because back a few months ago and everything, I made a very pronounced stand saying I'm done with the MCU. Now, yes, I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm aware at this point. I'm going to be reviewing it on my channel, obviously. Am I being a hypocrite saying I'm done with the MCU, but I'm still going to review the movies and so on? If you want to call me a hypocrite, fine. Call me a hypocrite. Me, I just went to see the movie with a friend of mine because it looked interesting. I will wait and see what they do with Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. If I like what they do, I will say I like it. If I dislike what they do, I'll say I dislike it. But I'm just not... At this point, I'm just not being the blind fanboy anymore. Yeah. I mean, I've never been a blind fanboy except for maybe one or two things in my whole life. But in this case... I'm happy everybody else is excited. I'm actually kind of happy to see Robert Downey Jr. back. He's going to be doing a different role, so actually give him a chance to stretch some of his other acting muscles, which is not a bad thing. So, but ultimately, we've got to wait and see. The main thing is we know our DJ's back, and he's playing Doom. Beyond that, it's all
So, yep, it's all speculation and stuff. Now, folks, I am not going to say that you can't like anything. I'm not going to say that you can't like what you like. I'm not going to say you can't, or you can, or you're not allowed to like the MCU. Me, personally, I checked out. I'm not going to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine. As interesting as it looked, and as much as I trust Ryan Reynolds, I don't trust Disney. And Disney owns and distributed that movie. I will not support it in theaters. I will go watch Twisters. I will go watch other movies. I will not watch Deadpool Wolverine in theaters. I'm sorry. I can wait for it to go otherwise. I can contact my buddy, Captain Jack Sparrow, and we can figure something out.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm not going to watch that movie in theaters. Now, as for Robert Downey Jr., as much as I liked him as Iron Man, he was the perfect cast as Tony Stark. I have not seen him play a villain. So, can he pull it off? I would love to see him in Sherlock Holmes 3. I wish he would come back for Sherlock Holmes, because Guy Ritchie and Sherlock Holmes, damn, great mix. But
I own
him
both
as
of
Victor
those.
Von Doom? Not really sure. But as you were saying.
Yeah. All I was going to say is I have those two movies, just never had a chance to sit down and watch them, but I've heard really good things about them. So,
well, the thing about digital is the 4K digital release that I have has the first one with a re-edited voice for Moriarty, which it actually uses Jared Harris's voice. Now, I actually can watch it on Movies Anywhere and watch it on Fandango at home. One of them has the original voice in the digital release, and the other has the re-edited voice, which is Harris's voice, which is awesome. I mean, I prefer to have both versions. So, and I am aware, folks, yes, I am aware that Movies Anywhere is owned by Disney. However, it doesn't cost a damn cent to have or use Movies Anywhere. So they're not getting money. Not by me.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, moving on to our next topic, which is another Marvel topic. The Eternals have had their hopes eternally shattered.
Good joke.
Yeah. Feige came out and said, nope, no sequel. So I'm going to read over this article from Bounding into Comics. Shout out to you, boys. And let me know if my audio jumps, skips, or whatever. So
it has been a little bit. I just didn't want to break your stride. So
it's all right. Thank you for letting me know. I do apologize for that, folks. Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige admits defeat on Eternals, says there are no immediate plans for a sequel. Bounding into Comics, shout out to Spencer. And it developed that absolutely every moviegoer could have seen coming. Kevin Feige has revealed Marvel Studios has no immediate plans to produce an Eternals sequel. The eternally baseball-capped producer, nice, provided an update on the future, or rather lack thereof, of MCU's Black Sheep super team. While speaking of In vs. Days, Johnson and Jack Kleinman, pressed on the matter by his hosts, Feige admitted there are no immediate plans for Eternals 2. Now, folks, don't get me wrong. Eternals 2 was incredibly shitty. But that's an interesting and pretty cool looking visual. Not gonna lie, the Celestials were, or the Celestial scenes were cool looking. Not gonna lie about that. But anyway, there are, and I think you've seen maybe in a trailer we've released recently, an acknowledgement of some of those events. He added, referring to the upcoming appearance of the half-emerged Celestial Tiamat, which became a permanent fixture of Earth 1999 or 199,099, or it's actually 199,999. So yeah. Surface at the end of Eternals as a set piece of the upcoming Captain America Brave New World. Certain giant things came out of the ocean. So yes, this is also an acknowledgement that it's not Earth 616, as they all love to say in the multiverse of madness. It should be noted that as though Marvel Studios has currently no current plans to revisit the Eternals, at one point they very, very clearly did. Case in point, the film's ending and mid-credit scenes. No need to talk about them. Further, according to a previous rumor, not only was an Eternals 2 once being actively considered for development, but its biggest proponent was none other than Feige himself. The only reasons audiences were spared? Supposedly Bob Iger. In March 2024, a post to his personal Patreon account, noted scooper Daniel Richtman reported that though Feige was apparently gung-ho on pushing through with a second Eternals film, despite the poor reception of the first, he ultimately was overridden by Iger and his assumption that the sequel would likely turn out to be yet another box office disaster, ultimately resulting in a financial loss of $70 million. Eternals pulled just $402.1 million worldwide against a massive reported budget of $236.2 million. Taking into account that standard true budget equation is twice that of the publicly reported, this means the widely panned film cost at least $472.4 million and fell short $70 million of breaking even. Instead of Eternals 2, Marvel Studios' next big will be similarly overpriced Captain America Brave New World, which is currently set to spread its wings, in theaters on Valentine's Day. Could have said something totally different with a Valentine's Day reference. So yeah, That's all there is of that. So yeah, no Eternals, folks. But it does show that Disney is getting a little bit smarter, just a little bit, not much, because if they would have found out that it wasn't so much the movies themselves, it was what they were pushing in the movies that were pushing people away. That is why people were not liking them, and that is why the movies were failing. Your thoughts, Ambassador?
Personally, when I did my live rewind on the Eternals a few years ago, I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I didn't, because I did. I did enjoy the Eternals. I thought it was a interesting direction to take this particular team of heroes. It had a different tone. It had a different vibe to it, both of which I enjoyed. The only issue I had with it was I wish there had been more development with some of the other characters. Granted, you can only do so much with a 2.5-hour movie, obviously. Do I think the Eternals might have worked better as maybe a streaming series? Possibly. Am I brokenhearted to all in that there's not going to be Eternals 2? No. Am I a bit disappointed? Yeah. I'm not going to lie and everything. I am a bit disappointed, but at the same time, you can only sink so much money into a franchise or a part of a franchise before you realize you got to cut ties and let it go. So I'm not going to sit here and say I hated the movie, because I didn't. I will still watch it periodically, anything as I am inclined to do so. But yeah, unfortunately, Marvel and Disney have got to start hedging their bets and being a little more sensible with their money, because even as much as Madam Ambassador and myself enjoyed the Marvels, I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. She says it was actually pretty good, but she admits it had issues. I do understand the fact that certain movies did not do as well as they should have, for whatever extent.
Yes. Or as they could have, but yeah.
Marvel's like adding a little bit. I hate to use this, but I'm going to. The King and I, with Carol Danvers singing to the prince while they were dancing around a room just to get his help. Because everybody on the planet sings to each other. They don't talk. Really? I want to see a musical. I'll put in Sound of Music.
Exactly. So, anyway.
Well said.
But yeah, am I disappointed? Yes, but at the same time, I understand concessions have to be made. So there's not going to be an Eternals 2. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Because there were some characters in the... Go ahead.
Yeah. Me, folks, as I said, the celestial moments, I mean, when Arishem appears in the sky, parting clouds and shit, I'm not going to lie, that is a freaking interesting cinematic. I mean, you have Fantastic Four coming up, and apparently Galactus is going to be in it. So you got a good visual template reference there. You have a great template reference with Arishem, the judge in the sky, being like, "Where the fuck are you, little shits?" You know, when he pulls them up, and it's like, "You killed a Celestial for these little fuckers." So I'm going to scan your memories, and I'm going to come back. If what I find in there is displeasing, this planet is going to die. Now, obviously, they can't really do that because Earth is a centerfold maxima for the multiverse. Or destroying Earths will tear apart the multiverse. If they held true to the rules set forth by the Marvel gods and whatnot. But anyway, as much as I thought that Eternals had an interesting concept, it didn't have a good execution. I mean, we've been waiting how many years for Blade? Because Blade was teased in one of the scenes for that movie. And it's like, so yeah, we're still waiting on Mahershala Ali. 5 fucking things later, 5 directors, rewrites, and other shit later. So,
here's the thing I don't get. I know we've got a couple of times, but I just want to say this briefly. Blade is not that hard of a concept. He is a guy who was born half vampire, half normal. He hunts vampires. What is the freaking issue?
The issue is they're trying to make it woke. I know you don't like that term, Ambassador, but that is what they are trying to do.
I know. I accept the fact that they're trying to make it
heavy identity politics.
To quote the fellas that do South Park, they're trying to put a chick in it, make her lame and make her gay.
Exactly. I mean, folks, the only way that you're going to do a successful Blade is by making it rated R. If anything that Deadpool Wolverine has done right, it is they made it rated R. Now, I haven't seen the movie. I won't see the movie, but anti-heroes R-rated. They need to be R-rated.
Well, and here's the crazy thing, and mild spoilers for any of you who don't want to know anything about Deadpool and Wolverine. If you plan on seeing it in theaters, Wesley Snipes does have an extended cameo as an older Blade.
Nice.
Yeah, he has. There's several other characters, but like I said, I don't want to ruin too much for anybody that plans on going to see it in theaters. But Wesley Snipes does make a extended cameo appearance as Blade from the Blade movies.
All right.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, just make it rated R. Fucking get it right. Kill some vampires. Blow up some heads. Have some sex. There you go. I don't know. Not have sex. No, you don't need sex. Has become too gratuitous nowadays, folks. But moving on to our last topic. Gina Carano and Disney are heading for the battlefield of court, folks, because Disney failed in its dismissal motion using the First Amendment defense, the impenetrable defense of the First Amendment, saying that, she was misrepresenting us by speaking and whatnot. And there is an article that I shared on the video that I did, because I put out a video to discuss this mostly, folks. But the judge basically denied Disney's motion, saying it didn't fit the criteria of an impenetrable defense, or it also doesn't fit the criteria of the First Amendment. So yeah, but Gina Carano had a response after the writing of the article. The court denies defendant's motion. I am moved to tears. After a brutal 3.5 years, I am being given the opportunity to move forward in the court of law before the judge and my peers to clear my name. I am so grateful for this opportunity. Yes, she has been defamed and smeared by Disney folks and their employees. What happened to me was unacceptable, absurd, and abusive. Among other things, it should not have happened to me, and it should not have happened to anyone else moving forward. Let it stop here. I quite literally fought to get where I got to in my career through intense ups and downs, and I'll keep up that fight to continue doing what I love. I appreciate all of you who stood by me and defended me, and I am so sorry that similar situations have happened to some of you. I want you to know that I see you and I stand with you. Thank you to Elon Musk, a man I have never met, who so graciously gave me a fighting chance. She's speaking of the paying for any legal bills due to being fired if it was due to something you said on Twitter. So, continuing. Thank you for standing for justice and all of humanity. May God bless you and your family for years to come, because he has chosen you for such a time as this. Below is an interview I did with Ben Shapiro 3.5 years ago, February 2021, at my lowest point. I was wounded and in so much pain, but I feel that pain lifting now. I pray for justice to shine through this case. It's been one heck of a life. I am looking forward to getting back into the art of storytelling and doing my part to help the world heal. Thank you all. I'm sure it will be quite a battle ahead, but God's given me the ability to take some punches and give some back. My feet are on solid ground. Imagine what your voice can do. Now, folks, this woman has literally, yes, been through hell. She has been defamed. She has been through all of that. And the fact that she is still fighting. Now, if you look at or as I did when I first heard that she was suing, I looked at the court documents and it said reinstatement of job. But then I also paid attention to some law channels and whatnot, and she wants her position back as a employee of Disney. And I'm like, does this mean she's going back? Because that's kind of fucked up. You don't go back to an abuser, you know. But according to how they all describe it, that is essentially, she needs to be employed in order to receive the payment or something like that. But I'm not sure if that is true or not, but I am truly hoping that she will not settle. That when discovery comes for this court, when discovery, meaning the outlying of evidence, the laying out of evidence, and going into the books of Disney, into opening up those closets that are full of skeletons, they are most likely going to offer Gina a very generous plea deal. And I hope against all hopes that she will not take it, that she will say, I am not accepting this, not after what you did to me. I will see you in court. We are going to have this out. And I want you to understand what you did was wrong. Now, unless the settlement also comes with several public apologies by several people, that's the only way that a settlement should be allowed. Meaning they go and do a public presser, stream to the world, and they all say, we were in the wrong by maligning Gina Carano. We absolutely offer our sincerest apologies. It is not right to defame anyone. It is not right to drag their name through the mud simply because they had a difference of opinion or a difference of political views. Now, even if they issued that kind of apology, it would be hollow. It would be insincere because of their policies and hiring practices that were recently exposed by James O'Keefe with the we ain't going to be hiring no white people for the positions kind of thing. Yeah, I did videos on that last month, folks. So, this is, or I'm hoping she goes for the throat of Disney. And I'm hoping that she freaking knocks them out in the ring. Well, in the courtroom, metaphorically speaking. But, Ambassador, what are your thoughts on this?
You know, when this whole thing started years ago with Gina Carano and her statements on X, formerly known as Twitter, I viewed it as she did nothing wrong. She said nothing wrong. She was stating a opinion. She was stating her opinion, which is protected under the First Amendment. Now, just because she stated an opinion that the company she was working for doesn't like, doesn't mean they get to tell her, you can't say this, you can't say that. She might be under contract, but she still has a little thing called freedom of speech. You do not have the right to censor somebody. Now, if she had said something truly heinous or truly offensive, which, to the best of my memory, she did not. She did not call for violence. She did not call for anybody to be hurt. She did not call for anybody to be punched in the face, shot, or killed, or anything, to my recollection. She did nothing wrong. And I quite frankly do not give a rip in hell what some limp-wristed liberal pantywaist has to say about that. I don't care about your feelings. You want to be hurt and offended, go cry in a closet somewhere. No one cares about your damn feelings except for maybe your immediate family if you're lucky. Gina Carano did nothing wrong. Now, am I one of these that's ride or die for Gina Carano? No. But I do believe in the rule of law. I do believe in right and wrong. And I do believe that we are protected under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Disney for too long has thought that they are above the law and above everything else. Guess what? There was a time when Disney was a small animation studio. That was it. They specialized in family entertainment. Walt Disney wanted to try and do more with the company, and that's all well and good. Maybe he should have had the opportunity to do so, but he never got the chance. Lately, within the last 10 years, if not longer, Disney's gotten too big for their damn britches. Now they're getting their
Downey.
Yeah.
They think
now,
they're Wayland Downey. Yeah.
They have gotten their butts handed to them by the government of Florida, justifiably so. And I hope, as you do, that Gina Carano goes for the metaphorical throat. I hope she makes them beg for mercy. So, do I side with Gina Carano in her stand for how she was wronged? Absolutely. But I'm not one of these fanboys that just fawns over her. Do I think she's a decent actress? Yes, I do. I actually got the movie Haywire a while back because I had seen a trailer for it on another movie we own, and I was like, you know what? I want to check this out, and I'm eventually going to. Do I think she was good in the first Deadpool? Yeah, I do think she was. Do I think she was good in The Mandalorian as Cara Dune? Yes, I think she does. Do I think she got royally screwed over? Yes, I do. So I say with all sincerity and respect to Miss Carano, go for the throat, baby. Sweep the leg. Bring him down.
Leg, go for the throat and knock him the fuck out.
Yes.
But yeah, folks, to also give you an idea of what sort of stuff they wanted to subject this woman to while she when she did the boop bop beep pronouns thing. Mm-hmm. We all turned it into beep bop boop, but she did it originally, I believe, boop bop beep. They wanted to shame her. They wanted to shame her for that because they said you are attacking the trans and the LGBTQ people, and they wanted her to give to a charity for the LGBTQ people. But when she looked at it, she saw the Disney claimed it wasn't a part of their stuff. And she was about to do it, but then she saw that it was started by a Disney employee. So she's like, nope. And then they wanted to sit her down on a Zoom call with a bunch of LGBTQ people, I believe like 40 of them. And they were going to shame her. They were going to basically yell at her, berate her, and say, this is how you cause this pain and all that stuff.
It's essentially a non-communist version of a struggle session. Yeah.
And they also were going to say, well, this is going to be private and whatnot. I don't believe for 1 second that would have not been leaked. They would have leaked it out because they would have wanted to make her or make an example of her. But the whole thing that kicked it off, the whole thing that really tipped the scales that got her fired was when she shared a photo of a woman who was Jewish in the 1930s being attacked by her neighbors and said, this is what happened, or this is what the government did in the 1930s. They trained people to hate their neighbors. She didn't mention conservatives. She didn't mention Republicans. She didn't mention liberals or Democrats. She didn't mention any political party. However, she did say we need to see the signs and what's going on around us because, well, yeah, there was a time when certain political figures were saying turn in your neighbor during our time alive. Now, she didn't say anything about that. She didn't specify anything about that. All she did was share a photo with an explanation of what was going on. And they said she was saying that Republicans were being treated like the Jewish during World War II, which wasn't the case because World War II hadn't started yet. Not during the time that photo was taken. If I remember correctly, World War II was 1940 to 1945. That was taken in 1939. But yeah, folks, that is what basically got her fired. But yet Pedro Pascal could tweet out a photo of a Nazi flag and call 80 million Americans Nazis. And he didn't get yelled at. You have all those workers for Lucasfilm who have said and done blatantly racist things on Twitter, and yet they didn't get fired or reprimanded. But yet Gina Carano, she stood against the forced vaccinations. She dared ask questions. She ventured an opinion, and they burned her at the stake like a witch in Salem. And they had her fired, and they completely miscontextualized her words and defamed her.
Yep.
And so now, thanks to Elon Musk and his ownership of Twitter, or X now, and his offer that perfectly qualified with Gina Carano, she has the ability to stand up against a giant. She is Goliath, or she is David standing before Goliath. And she's got that sling spinning. So, yeah, folks. Any final thoughts, Ambassador, before we get going?
In terms of everything we've discussed over the last hour, the Olympics suck. Our Robert Downey Jr. does not suck. We'll just have to wait and see what they do with him as Dr. Doom. Gina Carano did nothing wrong. And to quote one of my favorite movies, and I say this to the heads of Lucasfilm and Disney, run, you cur. Tell the other curs the law is coming. And hell's coming with me. You hear me? Hell's coming with me.
If I remember correctly.
You do remember quite correctly, my friend.
All righty. And thank you to everybody in the chat. Sithin for Sithis, or Sittins for Sithis. Right, Kitty, thank you for coming in. It's always a pleasure to see you. Conroy 1776, Real Nerdy Review. Pierre, thank you for stopping in on X. And Darth Zathra. The fact that the Olympics did what they did just proves that they are now irrelevant. Yep. I'm actually, my final thoughts on that, the whole Olympic thing. I am glad now that Caitlin Clark did not get put on the basketball team because she is also religious, folks. She is a Catholic or a Christian, I believe. And I do believe that she would have not appreciated the insult that they levied against the Christian and Catholic communities. And I'm hoping that the Vatican also would issue a statement here. The Vatican should have issued a statement. They should have issued a statement.
But
immediately.
I will.
But they didn't.
I will say this though: the Vatican may not have said nothing, but I think the Almighty did when he knocked out all the lights in Paris.
Yeah, I heard about that, and you know what? If that was caused by divine intervention, or if it was by design by some douchebag in Paris just playing a prank, do not mock that. Yeah, do not mock that which is mightier than you. Because eventually something might happen in which you cannot run from. Now, I am not saying that as a threat. I am simply saying that
you can't run from the Almighty.
Yeah. Somebody once tried and they found it was useless. I believe his name was
Jonah. But he finally did right. He finally did right. Even though he was a knucklehead about it, but he finally did right.
Yep. So. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Ambassador, thank you for coming on. You're always welcome over here on Sundays if you want to join. And Mrs. Ambassador, was always good to hear her voice too.
Dan,
Orange says hi, and he says it was good to hear your voice.
Oh, good to hear you too. Well, I can't hear you, but great. Nice to see you too.
Yep. And folks, next week we will have another menagerie of topics. Hopefully, Ambassador will get his sex change back to Kate. Just joking. But
I know.
Hopefully Kate will be back.
You can make that joke.
Yeah. And hopefully Caitlin Clark goes on to win the championship in the WNBA, because you know what, screw the Olympics. Nobody cares about the Olympics anymore, especially when they have all shown, or especially when the USA has shown to be disrespectful to their flag and their country. So yeah. Thanks to Megan Rapinoe, who destroyed any and all interest in the Olympic Games for most Americans who were very proud of their country. Well, yeah, I'm kind of glad that Caitlin Clark wasn't put on that bloviating egomaniac coach's Team USA team, especially if they are going to sit there and support such a blasphemous display of debauchery and sin. So with that being said, folks, thank you all so much for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful night, and always remember to stay humble. Now let me get my closer here.
Are you done? Are you done?